Greetings and welcome to the Auto Care Association Business Opportunities in Colombia webinar presented by the Auto Care Association. I'm Angela Chang, Director of International Affairs at the Auto Care Association and your moderator for today's webinar. In today's webinar, you'll learn why and the how of doing business in Colombia, hear an overview of the automotive industry in Colombia, learn about the best prospects and opportunities in the market, and hear details on the Auto Care Association's trade mission to Colombia in June. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping notes to share. For questions, please use the Questions tab located on the bottom right-hand side of your GoToWebinar console if you're logged into the web version. For questions that we don't get to during the webinar, we will follow up with you with responses via email. This webinar will be recorded, and the recording will be distributed 24 hours after the webinar has concluded so that you can listen on demand at your convenience. If you're tweeting about this webinar, please follow along and use the hashtag AutoCareLive, one word, for the top takeaways from the session. And lastly, don't forget to take our survey directly after the webinar so that we can use your feedback to improve future webinars and teleforums. And now I'd like to introduce today's presenters. Juan David Hernandez, Public Relations Director at the American Chamber of Commerce in Colombia, and Carolina Aragoses, Associate of International Affairs at the Auto Care Association. So for those who are not familiar with the Auto Care Association, we are a trade association based outside of Washington, D.C. and Bethesda, Maryland. We protect and advance the interests of businesses providing aftermarket products and services of all classes of motor vehicles. The association has more than 3,000 member companies. We represent some 150,000 independent automotive businesses that manufacture, distribute, and sell motor vehicle parts, accessories, tools, equipment, materials, and supplies, and perform vehicle service and repair. These are just some of the resources and services for our members, including industry legislation, advocacy through our government affairs team, professional development and education, technology standards to manage and exchange automotive catalog data, market intelligence, communication resources to keep you updated, and international growth and business development opportunities, which we will talk about today. In 2016, the Auto Care Association received an Export Promotion Award from the Department of Commerce to help increase U.S. exports of automotive parts and services. We have organized 7 successful trade missions to Central and South America. Many of our participating companies have reported sales or are very optimistic in developing business relationships with the leads they are pursuing. Many of our members have focused on Latin America as target markets with great opportunities for growth, and more than half of all U.S. Free Trade Agreement partners are in Latin America. We'll talk more about FTA benefits later. More than 40% of U.S. exports already go to Latin America, and this shows a high track record of success. There is a high level of used car sales, used American vehicle imports, and the increasing aging vehicle population makes it a great market for aftermarket products and services. Our geographic proximity leads to significantly shorter lead times, giving us a competitive advantage over our Asian or European competitors. Latin America has been historically a highly receptive marketplace for U.S. goods and services. They're very familiar with U.S. brands and the way we do business. And here we'll talk about FTA benefits. The U.S. has signed free trade agreements with many Latin American countries, making them excellent targets for export growth. First, most auto parts are entering into these markets tariff-free. FTAs also reduce non-tariff barriers and discriminatory regulations. Protections for investments and property means more transparency and security when investing in these markets. Customs procedures are harmonized and helps reduce the burdens and resources needed to process paperwork and procedures. Additionally, FTAs have a system in place for resolving legal disputes. This element is especially helpful when doing business in a foreign market that has a different language. All of these benefits allow you to compete on a more level playing field than in a non-FTA country. And now I'd like to turn it over to Juan David Hernandez of the American Chamber of Commerce to share some information on doing business in Colombia and the auto care industry.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Juan Hernandez from the Colombian American Chamber of Commerce. Today we're going to be talking about how you can do business in Colombia from the automotive sector. So we are going to split the presentation between two parts. The main one is going to be concentrated in the market overview, so you can understand the current situation of the Colombian market. And then we're going to be talking about the automotive sector and which are the main opportunities that we analyze and we're facing here in Colombia. So if you can go to the next slide, please. First of all, we wanted to give you a general information about what we do. So we currently represent more than 1,000 companies, both of them American and Colombian companies, which export and import different kind of products and services from Colombia to the United States and from the US to Colombia. We currently have a population of 45.5 million of people, so that means that we are a growing market for the automotive sector. Our GNI per capita is more than $7,000, which is a good number for reaching new customers in Colombia. We have an unemployment rate of 9.7% by December of 2018, which means that there's a lot to be done here in Colombia in terms of the employment and the current opportunities that the automotive or auto care sector can see here in Colombia. We got 5 cities which has more than 1 million customer bases. Just here in Bogota, we have 8 million people. So is a good base of customers that you can reach with your products. In Medellin, we have 2.5 million people. This is the second biggest automotive market here in Colombia. So that means that there are good opportunities to explore in the country. And the third main market in terms of the local in the local market is Cali, which is in the Pacific coast, and it has 2.4 million people. So if you see, we got more than 12 million people that are currently a good base of consumers in these 3 cities. Then we have Barranquilla with 1.2 million and Cartagena with more than 1 million. Next. The first thing that I would like you to consider is Colombia is a privileged player that is awakening. You probably may know that there are some regional powers like Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. The good news is Colombia is really close to these big economies, so we're now ranked in the 4th largest economy in Latin America. So that means that we have a dynamic market which is growing and presents a lot of opportunities for this sector. Our privileged location, as mentioned before, is a good thing that you may consider, as we have access to the North Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. So that means that you can import merchandise from different locations, considering these location opportunities. We also have a strategic location, which plays an important role in terms of consolidating the country of as one of the most important players in terms of commerce. So currently, Colombia has signed more than 68 commercial agreements with different companies around the world. That means that we have really clear conditions for imports, and these are some of the opportunities that you can take advantage here in Colombia. We also have tremendous opportunities in terms of other sectors like agribusiness, tourism, regional commerce. Some of the automotive companies that are currently operating in Colombia, they have regional offices as well, and Colombia is the main hub of this market. So that is something that you have to take into account when doing business in Colombia. Next. Um, as I mentioned before, Colombia is maturing as a regional power. So that means that our investors or can take into account that our political and economic history has been marked by stability and democracy. That means that you can easily do business here in Colombia without having huge concerns. We actually hold a stable perspective for investment. So that's a triple B for Fitch ratings. So that means that the risk companies give us a good perspective in how the economy and the political instability is currently managing by the government. We are currently investing in infrastructure in a really important way. So that means that is now playing a key role in developing the country of the infrastructure of the country. As you may know, that is one of the main opportunities as some of the Colombians are buying more cars. They will need to take care of their cars, and probably they will be demanding more products. So that means that this is a good opportunity that you may consider as well, not only in these three cities that I mentioned before, but also in the whole country. Our main exports are basically based in oil and gas exports. However, we understand that we need to start diversifying our economy. So we reduce these exports from 74% to 52%. We currently have good trade and investment ties between the U.S. Um, so our main exports and imports are with this country. We have also more than 160 exporting sectors, and the automotive sector is one of the main sectors in the country. Next, please. Uh, we still stock in primary goods. I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but you probably know that we are focused on oil, coffee, gold, flowers, petroleum derivatives, bananas and plantains, among others. But we are currently trying to see other opportunities in terms of aluminum, garlic, and avocado. Next, please. As I mentioned, the U.S. is the most important partner of Colombia. The exports to the U.S. total more than $10 billion. So that shows that we have strong ties with the U.S. And U.S. export to Colombia also represented more than $11 billion. So that kind of give you a quick insight of how the exports and imports are being managed by Colombia and the U.S. So that means that 25% of our exports are going to the U.S. markets, whereas 25% of our of the U.S. imports are bringing to Colombia. So that gives you a good idea of how these imports are now uh, being buying in the Colombian economy. Next, please. Um, One of the things that we have seen here in Colombia, and especially in the chamber, is that historically the U.S. has been the most important investor in Colombia. So not only in terms of trade, but also in terms of investment. So the FDI total more than 13 billion in 2017. So um, Colombia is currently the 26th largest goods trading partner with the U.S. So this is a good thing for the companies because it gives you more opportunities and kind of a view of how you can explore the market and the different sectors here in Colombia. Next, please. As the automotive industry is one of the main concerns of this presentation, I will give you some general insights about this industry here in Colombia next. The first big idea that I would like to give you is that we have both national and international suppliers. Most of these companies that are based in Colombia are manufacturing companies, and they have they play an important role in terms of the supply chains because they are both assemblers and distributors. So these companies are currently assembling light vehicles, trucks, buses, and motorcycles. One of the main things that we are facing right now in Colombia is that we're currently running our scrappage program. This is something that is inside of in the FTA between Colombia and the U.S. And the Colombian government is committed to start a new scrappage program uh, and release the new policy in June of this year. So that gives you a sense of how we can start finding new opportunities as our cars are getting we're facing this trouble in which the cars are getting very old. Right now we have trucks more than 21 years, so that means that the Colombian government has to release a new program in which these cars, these trucks, sorry, need to be scrappage, and then we need to get new cars. So that is a good opportunity for you as well. We got distribution companies whose corporate purpose is in the commercialization of auto parts. So I mentioned before that the three main cities are Bogota, Medellin, and Cali. So that is something that you may consider when finding new distributors if is one of your main objectives. You should focus in these cities. We also have freight transporters who move the pieces between each of the groups previously mentioned. So is a big group here, and they are requesting new products and new services as well as we don't we don't have a good number of companies right now in this sector. So this is something that you can take into account as well. Next, please. Um, the top 10 brands by sales, you can see it in the figure, are Chevrolet and Renault. So that is General Motors and Renault, which has an alliance with Sofasa, which is a local manufacturer here. These two companies are the biggest selling companies here in Colombia. The third one is Nissan, which is performing really well. If Probably you can say that 5 or 10 years ago Nissan was in the fourth or fifth place, but now they're performing really well. The explanation may be that we're receiving more of these of the Mexican produced vehicles that are being imported to Colombia, and they release new models that are being purchased by the Colombian population. So these three brands, Chevrolet, which is General Motors, Renault, and Nissan, they are performing really well in the Colombian market. So you may find that they have the biggest piece of the market here in Colombia. We got other producers such as Mazda, and we're bringing other cars from locations as Korea and Japan and even the U.S. But these three companies, they keep their leadership in this market. Next, please. Uh, right now, we have more than 13 million vehicles, including motorbikes, in Colombia. So that makes us the third biggest market in Latin America. Some of the data that our Ministry of Transport is providing is that we have 140 vehicles per each 1,000 people. So that is a big is a good way to understand that this is a growing economy, and there is in we can find good opportunities here as the local market is really important. Is it is also important to remark that some of the companies are also exporting um, other parts and products to other countries of the region, but the main focus is still being in Colombia, as is performing really well. Some of the last information that the trade association here in Colombia provided is that this sector is growing more than 20%. So that is something that is really important to you to take into account. And also, if you're trying to, or if you're looking to find new distributors or maybe partners here in the country, this sector employs more than 25,000 people in the manufacturing industry and accounts for 4% of our GDP. So that makes you a clear idea on how important this sector is becoming. Next, please. Um, this is this give you the idea of how the the Colombian market performs. So we got most of these figures show us that the motorbikes are the main vehicles that are being sold in Colombia, then the cars, and then we have others such as trucks, heavy duty trucks or buses. Um, the motorbike sector is one of the main um, sectors that are currently growing, not only in Bogota but in the different cities, as most of the families find them as a good way to transport their families, or even they use these vehicles as a vehicle to for their daily works. So that is really important because what we have seen here is that they are asking for more products. They are also looking for other alternatives in terms of how they care their vehicles. So it's a good opportunity to see motorbikes in this presentation. As I mentioned before, cars are extremely important, as the infrastructure is being as the infrastructure is a good sector that is growing, and the government is placing a lot of resources in this sector. So probably what we will see is people finding or buying new cars and or replacing them, as the economy give them the opportunity to change their cars or acquire new products. Next, please. So, the automotive market, what we can say is that 37, sorry, percent of these vehicles are locally produced, and 60% of they're imported from countries such as Mexico, such as the U.S. and other locations. We got more than 50 brands and 700 models in the market. So that gives you a good idea on how the market is performing and our supply chain is related to more than 100 countries that currently Colombia is competing with. So we got companies such as General Motors, Renault, and Daimler that have assembly plants, and primarily they're focusing on the domestic market, as I showed you before. Next, please. The total amount of imports of auto parts in Colombia raised to 3.6 billion in 2017, and most of these locations that are being used to bring these imports are the U.S., which total more than $600 million, and there are other locations such as China, Japan, Brazil, and South Korea and Mexico that have the highest market shares. One of the main things that you can see in this graphic is that Mexico is currently performing really well in the Colombian market. As I mentioned before, Nissan and other companies are selling more cars, and they are increasing their participation in the market share. The U.S. is performing well. However, we see China also performing in a good way. So we strongly believe that there are some other opportunities that you can explore here in your mission in Colombia, and not only take into account these three main cities, but also other cities such as Cucuta that is close to to Venezuela, and they're currently demanding other products for other companies. Uh, Cities close to Ecuador are also a good place in which you can find opportunities and probably explore new business possibilities. Next, please. Some of the products that we identify and which have good opportunities in the Colombian market are radiators, clutch, suspension systems, and brake parts. We also believe that the gasoline and diesel engines are being demanded in a good way, and you can find other products like air filters and oil filters, gaskets for engines, windshields, lights, high, low beam, and also decorative lights. Also tires. This is a very big market here in Colombia for not only for cars but also for trucks and buses. Other products like part of fans, ventilating hoods, so air conditioning, and parts for motor vehicles is a good opportunity in the Colombian market. This information was bring it by the Colombian Trade Association. Next, please. We got some important actors here, which is one of them is Asopartes, which is the association of the automotive sector. We also have a Colfa, which is the Colombian Association of auto parts, and we also have Andy, which represent the industry, and they have a chamber of automotive of the automotive sectors. We have three main events, which the first one is the automotive fair that you will be visiting. We also have the international fair of cars, which is in September and every 2 years, and we have the feria called Dos Ruedas. It means two ruedas, which is in Medellin. So you will find these fairs in Bogota and Medellin. So it would be a good place to be and explore the Colombian market. Next, please. As I mentioned before, we Colombia has become a regional distribution platform. So it gives you a good idea of good opportunities that you may find in probably Ecuador or Peru. Venezuela, you probably know that is not currently in a good economic position. However, Cucuta, they also have good opportunities that for not only for the Venezuelan market but also for the Colombian, as they don't have enough products to buy in this country. So a lot of people come here to find new products and services here in Colombia. We are also developing a electric vehicle market, so it's a growing market, um, mainly in big cities such as Bogota, Medellin, and Cali. And it seems that the consumers are looking for quality and technology. So I guess it gives you some key aspects to consider when you are identifying or finding new opportunities for your products here in Colombia. Next, please. Well, so um, this is um, these are the main aspects that we identify in this presentation. Uh, Feel free to ask if you may have any questions. We here at the AmCham have some of the companies that are currently not only working in the Colombian market but also in other regional markets. So you may have any other important information. So Diana Guerrero, which is our director of trade, she can give you some other information if you may need it. Feel free to contact us, and if you need further information, in the Auto Care Association, we'll give you our details. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope this presentation was very accurate for your purposes in the Colombian market. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Juan David. Again, we will have time for questions, so I wanted to invite all participants. As questions may have popped into your mind during the presentation, please submit those in the questions panel, and we'll get to as many as we can. So if you're intrigued with what you've heard about the Colombian market, I would like to invite our next speaker, Carolina Aragoses of the Auto Care Association, to tell you a little bit about our upcoming trade mission and what that might mean to you for advancing your business opportunities in Colombia.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you, Juan David, for your presentation. Good afternoon, everyone. So now that we have discussed the auto care market in Colombia, you might be wondering how to start taking advantage of these business opportunities. So the first step that we are proposing today is for you to participate in a trade mission organized by the Auto Care Association. This is a business development opportunity to meet one-on-one with prospective customers and distributors, pre-screened to match your specific business objectives and get first-hand market information. This program offers an excellent opportunity to enhance your exposure to a local market and get access to key industry contacts. During the last 3 years, we have hosted trade missions to Central and South America, and this includes Peru, Guatemala, Colombia, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Chile. Many of our participating companies have reported sales, and others are very optimistic in developing business relationships with the leads they are pursuing. Therefore, we want to continue helping companies exploring these markets and increasing their presence in Latin America. So when are we going to Colombia with this program? We have confirmed the dates for June 5th and 6th of this year. And what is included in this trade mission to Colombia? First, you will get personalized one-on-one meetings through the American Chamber of Commerce in Colombia, AmCham, that will meet your specific goals and objectives. It also includes admission to the Expo Partes show that runs from June 5th to 7th, and this show is the largest Colombian automotive parts fair, and it's organized by Asopartes, that we mentioned earlier. Asopartes is the Colombian trade association representing auto parts importers and distributors. The show will include more than 500 local and international exhibitors that will have presence in the show, and it also is anticipating over 27,000 visitors for this year. The trade mission package also includes the country briefing by the American Chamber of Commerce, an industry briefing by Asopartes. It includes hotel accommodations for 3 nights, meals, airport transfers, and local ground transportation to trade mission events. It includes on-site interpreters for your meetings, a pre-mission webinar or conference call to discuss all the details before the trip and answer any questions. And once you register, a conference call with the American Chamber of Commerce specialist to review the potential of your product and specific goals and objectives. This is the itinerary of activities for the trade mission to Colombia. So the idea for the group or the participants is to arrive on Tuesday, June 4th to Bogota, so we can start the program on Wednesday, June 5th. This day, we will have the country and industry briefing that I mentioned before. Then we will have the one-on-one meetings that are going to be held at the Expo Parties Trade Show at the Convention Center. And after that, you will have time to explore the show. On Thursday, we're going to have the second part of the one-on-one meetings inside the show, and you will have time after to explore the show. And at night, we're going to have a networking reception, and it's also going to be at the show. On Friday, companies will depart on their own itinerary to the United States or to their own destination. Here we have the package costs for the trade mission. Members of the Auto Care Association will receive a $500 discount, so they will pay $3,500. We are also offering an offset incentive upfront for U.S. companies, and this is part of the award the association received from the Department of Commerce. So companies promoting U.S. products will receive another $500 US dollars upfront offset towards the trade mission package. So it means that if you're a member of the Auto Care Association and you are promoting U.S. products, you will end up paying $30,000, and non-members will pay $3,500. Each additional participant will pay $800. So the initial price, the $30,000, includes one participant and what I just mentioned. And if you have another representative for your company, you will pay $800. If you're interested in getting more information on how to become a member, please contact me and I will send you the information. So again, what's included in the package? The B2B meetings, admission to the trade show, country and industry briefing, breakfast, coffee breaks, lunch on the trade mission days, dinner on June 5th, and reception on June 6th. Hotel accommodations, local transportation from and to the airport and to all trade mission events, and an interpreter service if you need. What is not included in the package? The expenses for airfare and non-specified meals and incidentals. So if you want to register, the first step is to please visit our website, www.autocare.org/trademissions. In this website, you will find all the information and the link to register. Once we receive your application, we will be scheduling a conference call with the AmCham specialist to discuss your trade mission objectives, and you will be able to receive feedback on the potential of your product. After the conference call, you will receive a notification qualification along with an invoice. Once we receive your payment, the team will start working on your meetings. Please keep in mind that the deadline to register is April 19, but space is limited, so registration will end once we reach capacity. So we suggest, if you're planning to attend, to submit the registration form as soon as you can. At this point, we still have some spots available. In this slide, we wanted to share some of the reviews and testimonials we have received from our trade mission participants in the past years. As I said, some of them already reported successful sales and some others are working on closing deals. So again, this is a great opportunity to get firsthand market information, meet potential customers or clients, save time, and maximize your results. So I want to turn it over again to Angela Chiang from the AutoCare for the Q&A portion of our webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Carolina. Now we'd like to move to questions from the audience. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the Questions tab located on the bottom right-hand side of your GoToWebinar console if you're logged into the web version. And for any questions we don't get to during the webinar, we will be sure to follow up with you after the webinar via email. So our first question comes in regarding the trade mission. For the B2B meetings, can you go over the timeline of when we will know what companies we will be meeting with? And also, do you confirm buyers' interest of our particular product?
Yes. So for the first part of the question, once you confirm your participation and we receive your payment, the team is going to start working on your agenda of meetings. So first, during the conference call that you're going to have with the specialists from the AmCham or the American Chamber of Commerce, you're going to be able to describe and offer an explanation of your business objectives and let us know exactly what type of partners or prospects you're interested in meet with. So we get a better understanding and we are able to give you meetings exactly with the prospective partners that you're looking for. And after that, you're gonna be receiving a midterm report during the month of May. You're gonna be able to review the progress of your meetings and give us feedback. Then, right before the trip, you're gonna receive your final agenda with the meetings, and this is going to include the name of the company, a brief description, and all of the contact information of the people you're gonna meet with.
Thank you, Carolina. And as a follow-up to your answer, when you say give feedback, can you expand on, does that mean participants can review the report and then give AmCham some direction as far as what companies on the list they want to meet with, or new companies that they want to meet with or don't want to meet with?
Yes, definitely. So companies are going to be able to review the description of the prospect and give us a better insight if the AmCham is on the correct path to create an agenda for you.
And how many meetings are included in the trade mission package, and where are the meetings taking place?
So we are, each participating company will have an average or from 8 to 10 meetings, and the meetings are gonna be held at the convention center where the Expo Partes show is. And you're gonna have on Wednesday, June 5th, you're gonna have 4 to 5 meetings, and then the next day you're gonna have the other 4 to 5 meetings.
We have a question come in. If you can switch to the slide for the trade mission package discounts again. Can you repeat the trade mission package cost?
Okay, so the trade mission package cost is for members of the AutoCare Association, $3,500. We are also offering an offset from the Department of Commerce of $500. You're gonna receive it upfront, and this is for companies promoting U.S. products. For members of the AutoCare Association, if you qualify, if you're promoting U.S. products with U.S. content, you will end up paying $30,000.
Okay, we have a couple questions come in regarding specific products that they manufacture and if we're able to help them locate buyers in Colombia. So I think we will follow up with these questions since they're specific to your company after our call and assess if you're a good fit for the mission. So please reach out to us if you don't hear from us. Okay, I think we are just out of time. Any questions that we did not get to, we'll be sure to follow up with you after the email, after our webinar, I'm sorry. Presenters, thank you so much for that webinar. For more information on our upcoming trade mission to Colombia, please visit autocare.org/trade.missions, or please contact Carolina Aragoses at carolina.aragoses@autocare.org. For future webinars and teleforums, please visit autocare.org/events. And for updates and resources on our international affairs efforts, please visit autocare.org/international. Again, this presentation will be circulated to all participants, so you'll have the links and contact information there, but please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Again, if you are interested in the trade mission, please go ahead and fill out an application. It is not binding, not obligatory. There's no obligation, but it will allow AmCham to perform a brief market assessment to review your objectives and determine if this is a right fit for your company, for your products, and if the timing is right for you to join the mission. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar, and have a great day.